Extra data is always better with extra minutes. Dial *544# to subscribe and share live extra. Telkom, moving with you.
Welcome back to Punchline, proudly powered by Telkom. And in this interview, we will discuss politics, corruption, leadership and integrity, the economy of the capital city, as well as the state of water, infrastructure and housing. Yes, I know it's an ambitious list, but what is a show without ambition? Ladies and gentlemen, the Governor of Nairobi, Mbuvi Sonko. Welcome to Punchline.
Thank you, Anne.
I've got to start with, what is that? It looks like $100 bills to me.
No, this is just a serviette.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a serviette. It's not money.
Of dollar bills.
Yeah, yeah. So wipe your mouth, wipe your hands.
With dollars.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Just so that we're clear, money has not been poured and is not
money.
on the table in this interview. I want to kick it off with talking about politics. And you are spearheading a team of the so-called bad boys of politics right now. Team Wanjiku. What is that movement about?
Team Wanjiku represents the forgotten voters, the forgotten Kenyans, the forgotten watu ya mashinani, forgotten youth, the jobless youth of this great country of ours. The makangas, the mamambogas, the spanner boys, the mechanics. These are the Team Wanjikus in this case of ours. So Wanjikus have been neglected. We were elected as leaders after the 2017 election to go and serve Wanjiku, to go and focus on service delivery, to address issues facing the Wanjikus. But even before the election hearing here, we have started campaigning. We are forgetting that the common Wanjiku is suffering. So
Team Wanjiku is meant to address that.
To address that.
It's a curious mix of people, because you have Mainanjenga, once the head of the feared Mungiki sect. You have Moses Kuria, who, whilst he's a legislator, has been charged with incitement to violence in the run-up to the 2017 election. Paul Kobia has been charged with fraud over the gold scam. Simon Bogwa, who's the Yala legislator, has been charged in connection with an assault at a local hotel. And you certainly are equally colorful. Is it design that
it is not
all these characters conflict around Team Wanjiku?
It is not a design, but let me tell you first, Moses Kuria's case, I think, was dismissed. He was acquitted. And I think I'm on record having said that anybody's past should not determine his or her future. These things are normal.
They're normal? Is a gold scam normal?
It's normal part of life.
This is not even history. This is just months ago.
That is business. That is Kobia's business. It has nothing to do with us. The matter is before court. Actually, it would be sub judice for us to discuss this matter in this show. Simon Bogwa was acquitted in the case he was facing in the court.
But you're comfortable in this company?
Yeah.
Of curious individuals with
these are the real Wanjikus. And this is the life which...
These are the real Wanjikus, these are these leaders?
No, they are leaders, yes. But this is an example of what Wanjikus are facing out there. So many Wanjikus are languishing in various remands, various prisons today. Even myself, I was in prison, and I'm not shy of telling...
no, on the contrary, you seem quite proud of it. But there is only one person who is curiously missing from this list.
Yes.
And that would be the Kiambu governor, Ferdinand Waititu.
No, he has his own problems in Kiambu. He's the governor of Kiambu. As we are addressing the real issues Wanjiku is facing today, it has nothing to do with... Kiambu County or other leaders. Any leader can join us. Okay. Any leaders with opinions like ours, we are ready to work with that particular leader. The other day we were joined by the Mavoko MP. We were also joined by Embakasi South MP to fight for the rights of Wanjiku. in terms of focusing on service delivery, as I've said. Wanjiku's hawana kazi sahi. Wanjiko languishing in poverty. The poverty level in Kenya iko juu sana. The joblessness problem, idleness problem, mama mboga wanadhulumiwa, bei za chakula ziko juu, bei za mboga ziko juu.
Do you have, for instance, a position on this referendum talk?
It will be premature for us to talk about referendum at this juncture. We are waiting for the recommendations of the BBI, even though there is the Punguza Mizigo. I think the matter was concluded just the other day in court. They were allowed to discuss or debate about the Punguza Mizigo in various county assemblies. But my opinion will be we must wait for the recommendations of the BBI. Then after the recommendations, then we can decide on the way forward.
For instance, you have previously said in an interview about a year ago that the only referendum you would support is one that would create a path for President Uhuru Kenyatta to continue to serve in some kind of capacity in government after the next election. Are you still of that view?
Absolutely. I'm still of that.
Why do you think the president needs to come back into government after doing 10 years?
You know, the president has not been given enough time to work for Kenyans. We've seen he has very good initiatives ambazo zinaweza faidi Mkenya wa kawaida. The Big Four agenda here in Nairobi, we already started the affordable housing initiative. Then there is the universal health care. There is the job creation, which has even not been seen kama inafanya kazi, mambo ya food.
But that surely would be a problem of that initiative, that he has not been able to create those jobs in the time that the Constitution stipulates should be enough for him to do what he wants. 2 terms.
You know, there is a lot of politics going on right now. Even some of the ministers are involved in politics. Taki kuongea sana, ionekane I'm here to criticize other leaders. But if we all forget about politics and focus on service delivery and support the president in achieving his goals in the Big Four agenda, I think the country will be heading in the right direction.
But you're doing politics. You're going out in rallies with Team Wanjiku.
We are neutralizing the situation which is there.
So that's the politics that you
because
play.
there was this Tangatanga, there was Kieleweke, people talking about 2022 politics when the head of state is still alive. The head of state needs to be supported. He has very good ideas to transform Kenya. But you see,
so you see yourself as the in-between between the other two sides.
Yeah, with this idea of Team Wanjiku, we are supporting the president. We are telling the people, be careful of this conmen by the name of Tangatanga and Kieleweke. Be focused. Let's support the president. Na hii watu wakicheza, wakiendelea na siasa, sisi sote tuungane to support handshake, because handshake has brought peace to this country of ours. It has brought the international confidence, stability in this country has been seen because of our so-called handshake. So we must tell the people, enough is enough. This is not time for politics.
Fair enough. You and the Gatundu legislator have both overtly in his case, in Moses' case, and in a roundabout way in yours, said that you will run for president or have such ambitions. Do you think dynasties would allow somebody such as yourself or somebody who is outside their club to run a viable campaign? You seem amused.
I think and the world is going the Wanjiku way. Take an example of Ukraine. The president of Ukraine currently is a comedian. They voted for a comedian because the Wanjikus were fed up with the leadership of that particular country. They were fed up with the politicians, the MPs of that particular country. Go to Liberia. They elected a footballer to be their president. Madagascar, for the second time now, they've elected a DJ, Rajolina, to be their president.
You don't need dynasties. Their time barred. Their time is up, is what you're saying.
Yeah. We don't need dynasties.
So that involves the families, for instance, of the Kenyattas, the Odingas, the Mois, and others. You're telling them today your time is up.
Yeah, we can tell them so. But you see, in Kenya, for instance, now the current president is not advocating for that. He was on record the other day, even to, was it on Thursday, on 22nd, where they were celebrating the anniversary of
the late
Mzee Jomo Kenyatta.
Right.
The president talked about leadership. Si lazima ati baba yako awe alikuwa mwanasiasa ama rais ndio wewe ukue rais. Even on education the other day when he spoke at KICC, alisema it is not a must ati kuwa umesoma sana ndio ukue mfanyi biashara ama ukue successful businessman. No.
So you support, for instance, the hustler narrative?
I support the hustler narrative.
You support the deputy president's bid to be president?
In this case, the Wanjiku narrative. For now, no. For now, I cannot support the deputy president because we have a working president. He's still alive. He still has...
But you agree with the ideology of hustler nation?
Wanjiku's nation.
Wanjiku nation.
Yes.
They're not the same thing?
Not quite the same thing.
All right. On Mashujaa Day last year, you said, quote, I do not want to be re-elected as governor, but I want to leave a legacy where I deliver for the poor and all the residents of Nairobi. You're saying you'll be a one-term governor? Come 2022, you're not running for governor?
No, for now, I'll skip that question because I've been elected as the governor of a great city of Nairobi. Let me focus on service delivery. We have got so many challenges in Nairobi.
For one term, you'll focus for one term.
It depends on how we are still weighing.
You've also previously said that God told you that you would run one term for every post.
It depends. It depends on how the political dimension of the country will head.
But you do have presidential ambitions. At some point in the future.
Yes,
do you think that makes people uneasy?
Which people?
The same ones who, for instance, were uneasy when you decided to run for governor, and they said that you were not the kind of man who could run a city. Granted, you ended up being governor.
That's how I started politics. I was an MP. People thought I was just doing PR. I became the senator. Then I'm not the governor. So everything is possible in leadership. So we leave everything to God to decide for us and the great people. So it depends on whether I want to be the governor of the city for another term, or the president, or the deputy president, or the prime minister. I have to work for the great people of Nairobi. I have to focus on service delivery. I have to work for Kenyans. That will determine what position I'll vie for in 2022. But for now, it will be premature for me to decide on that. But I'm known to be one term in. I was a one-term MP, as I've said. Each kila kiti, one term. I'm known for that. But for now, I cannot decide on that. Let me focus on service delivery. Then at a later stage, if we'll have another show, then I can come to that.
Okay.
Yes.
In an interview, you also said that you advocate for what you call the handshake lineup.
Yes.
In 2022, one that would primarily accommodate the deputy president, for Jubilee, and somebody from Raila Odinga's coalition or party. Given the current acrimony between these two groups, do you think that is still possible?
It is possible, but the best thing will be my good friend whom you interviewed the other time, the deputy president. Kama ningekuwa deputy president, I will support the handshake for now. I'll support the BBI for now. Simply because we only have one president. And I want to repeat myself, he's still alive. So if you challenge the handshake, you criticize the BBI, you criticize your boss, you criticize the president. I was one of the biggest supporters of the deputy president, and he's still my good friend. We talk. We were together even on Thursday.
You were even said to be his possible running mate in 2022.
That we leave it to the people to decide, and God, as I've said. But back to your question. If maybe you're a cabinet minister today, then the president has told us this is the direction I want you guys to go. Support the handshake. And we've all seen that handshake, and I want to repeat myself, it has brought peace to this great nation. So even if somebody doesn't like Raila Odinga, or likes criticizing Raila Odinga, but it is the president's initiative. So we must put aside our political differences, focus on moving this country to the right direction, and support the President of the Republic of Kenya. Even all these Tangatanga MPs, Kieleweke MPs, who go to rallies, criticize the President, kusema Uhuru sijui wewe nini, Uhuru sijui wewe nini, sijui nini mashamba nini, that is wrong.
But the Deputy President was in Bomet and he said he categorically
that one is okay now. That one.
Do you believe him? Do you think he's blind to pressure?
I don't want to talk for him, but if he agrees to support the handshake for now, and the BBI, it is an initiative of the handshake. The handshake, it is the program of the president. If we support the president for now, we'll have no problem of supporting the DP after the president's term is over. But for now, it is premature for us to talk about who will be the president in 2022.
It's interesting that you're now saying that you have some sort of confidence that supporting the deputy president can be possible later. Well, you yourself accused the internal security PS Karanja Kibicho in August or around that time last year of running a campaign chairing meetings against the deputy president's candidature. So how is it now that you're able to say that
let me take you back.
We can support him later?
There is a very important point which you've forgotten to mention here. Let me say this. If the deputy president is ready to support the handshake, then let him also sort his differences with Raila Odinga. Because the deputy president himself with the president walikuwa na shida kubwa sana after the 2007 election. Walikuwa hawaonani, the Kikuus and Kalenjins were fighting. Kama the two walikubaliana, wakasamehana, they worked together, campaigned together, won the elections in 2013 together. This country is bigger than any politician, than any leader. Me, I'm praying for this. If Raila Odinga and Deputy President can sit together, wasamehane, wapatane, they both support the handshake, to peleke Kenyans in the same direction, sote, then 2022 ikifika, if Raila is vying, or DP is vying, or whoever will be vying, we go to the people to agree the siyasa. But right now there is still that confusion, there is panic. We never know what will happen in 2022. So me, I'll be pleading with my elder brother, William Samoei Ruto, wajaribu kukaa chini na Raila Odinga. Ikifika pia ngumu, we reach the religious leaders, even the president himself.
You think they need mediation talks of their own?
I think it will be good for stability of this country.
Okay. What is the origin of your on and off running battles with Karanja Kibicho, the internal PS?
Okay, we used to have some issues with him, but I think we sorted that. I think the president called him, he called me, we met with Matiang'i at OP, had tea together, shook hands, and then we forgot our differences. We are now working together.
But that's not true. Just a few months ago, you were at each other's necks. You claimed that he is literally after your life.
No, I think even after that, we sorted it out.
You've had another.
Yeah, it's normal part of life. Kukosana leo, kesho. In marriages, it is there. In friendship, it is there. Everywhere, it is there. You can kukosana today, then kesho mnaitana, mnasameana.
Even when you allege that the other person is threatening to kill you?
That is leadership. That has already been overtaken by events. We've already sorted that, and I don't want to go to that. Right now, he's supporting me, we are supporting the government, and we're working together. Because we all serve the same government. So if you maybe criticize the system, if today now I criticize Kibicho, I'm saying he's a bad leader, he's not fit for that job, then I'm criticizing the president. Because he's working for the president. And he's the president himself. So
the president called you for a second meeting for peace?
And he told me, just focus on Nairobi, and we are going to support you. And it is true, we are supporting one another. And
for how long? Until the next eruption of hostilities?
It depends, because also, I'm a person who knows my rights. I'm intimidated. But since we set aside our differences and we're working together, hakuna intimidation, there's nothing.
How would he intimidate you or Tisha you, as you've said?
Let us spare that for now. Story for another day, because already we are working together. So if I go back to that, it means that tujasamehana, bado niko na uchungu ndani yangu. That one of
na una uchungu.
Yeah. Sina, hiyo nilimaliza.
You're a Jubilee governor.
Yeah.
And you've seen the ongoing wrangles. You've talked about even the two teams from Jubilee and how they're going at each other. Is Jubilee dead? And if it's dead, who killed it? Was it Raila, or did he push the president's hand inadvertently?
I think the Jubilee leaders somehow killed Jubilees themselves by first starting the 2022 campaigns when the president was busy concentrating on service delivery to Kenyans. Walipoanza sasa hii mambo ya siasa, campaign, nini. As Jubilee leaders, we are supposed to support the president. The Big Four agenda. This is a plus for Jubilee. Legacy for the president is our party leader. So whatever the president is doing, he's doing for Jubilee. So it is up to us as Jubilee leaders to hakikisha we support the president in achieving these goals.
But Jubilee is dead.
For now, I cannot talk on that because whatever the party leader says, we'll follow that. If tomorrow Uhuru convenes for a meeting and say all Jubilee leaders wakutane State House tupange, we'll all go and listen to the president.
Do you believe you should do that?
The deputy party leader, even the deputy president, has not called us for a meeting as Jubilee leaders. Maybe you can also meet tukubaliane. Yeah, DP is still our friend.
Okay.
And me, I'll be the first person, because me, I don't fear anything. Kumwambia my brother, I remember we had an MOU that after the president, you'll have your 10 years or 2 terms. But the way we have diverted issues, the way we have maybe gone to 2022 politics, forgetting the Wanjiku here, it has even, I can say, annoyed the
So the MOU
president.
Stands, in your opinion?
There was an MOU.
A written one?
There was an MOU.
You're telling the nation that
There
there's
was
a
an
written MOU,
but somehow
between
there is,
the president and
somehow
the deputy.
there is some sort of confusion at the moment.
I will ask again. Is there a written MOU between the president and the deputy president that guarantees after President Kenyatta completed
We can even have a
his
verbal. MOU can be verbal.
So what was it?
So-
Was it verbal or written?
Both.
You have seen perhaps this written document?
I have not seen this document, but there was an agreement.
A gentleman's
A
agreement.
gentleman's agreement that,
Okay.
and even the president is on record,
Okay.
having said after mimi ingefanya yangu Ruto yake. But you see, things happen depending on how you handle.
Should it be honored? Should that MOU be honored as we conclude?
I think there's a lot of confusion and panic for now.
What's Mike
It could have
Sonko's
been
view?
honored if we could have focused our support to the party leader, who is the President of the Republic of Kenya. There was a lot of confusion before the so-called handshake. Tulianza mambo mengi, mambo ya kwanza kuongea siasa ya 2022.
So are you saying
Well,
the president would then be justified not to honor that MOU because the deputy president has prematurely started campaigning?
But my opinion will be whatever the president says, because he's the head of state for now, that is what I'm going to follow as the governor of Jubilee. Because as it stands, he's still our party leader.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's leave politics there and move on to the question of corruption. As you're well aware, the Auditor General's report of 2017-2018 enumerates some questionable county spending of about 6 billion shillings in illegal withdrawals from the county's revenue accounts, as well as questionable expenditure outside the IFMIS system, among other irregularities that were spelled out in your first term. Just a simple quick answer. How did this happen under your watch?
I think nothing of the sort happened. Even though corruption is still rampant in Nairobi County, we tried to address it. We succeeded in some areas. But in the 2017-2018 Auditors General Report, which started the year ending June 2017, 2 months before I became the governor, there is nothing like swindling of 6 billion. I think that was...
6 billion did not make its way out of the cooperative bank accounts.
No, that is a lie. This question was raised in the report. It was asked in the Senate. The other day I was in the side-by show and we answered this question. But because you have asked it again and Kenyans are watching, and there are so many allegations which have been leveled against me, this was the money that we were collecting in terms of revenue. That was our on-source revenue. And this was the biggest blunder by the Auditor General. Not Oko himself, but his officers who are assigned to do audit for Nairobi City County, who happen also to be corrupt, because they were asking for some bribes to make a favorable report on us. But in this particular case of 6 billion, it is true there was a debit of 6 billion from Cooperative Bank, but it was the mandate of the Auditor General to do a further follow-up and find out where did this audit money go to. For instance, the previous government officers have been charged right now in court for misappropriating money. There's what we call paper trail. Money was followed. It ended up in the former bosses' accounts. They arrested there in court. Why have I not been arrested up to now? So, to make the long story short, this is the money that was banked at Cooperative Bank, and on the debit side of it, Cooperative Bank was sweeping this money to CBK on a daily basis. Actually, what we did when this allegation was raised, we decided to write to the Cooperative Bank. I wish I'd come with my documents. I tabled them in the Senate. We wrote to the Cooperative Bank. We are being accused of stealing 6 billion. 6 billion is a lot of money. It is not 100 million or 200 million. If you see this money and the ESCC have this evidence and the DPP, you won't survive. By now I could have been in prison, but let me finish. When we wrote to
Are you saying you're not under investigation by the ESCC and the DPP?
Nothing. This question was answered long time ago. When we wrote to the Cooperative Bank, Lilian Kioko, the Cooperative Bank manager, she replied with the statements and explained where the money went to.
Sources at ESCC say that you are under investigation.
No, nothing of the sort. That was just a gutter press by a nation who did the story. They said I'm under probe, me and Waititu. Why Waititu has been arrested, charged, why Sonko has not been charged. Apart from the Pasades case, which I went there to shed light. But I'll not allow you to go to another question. You have raised a very sensitive query here of 6 billion being misappropriated under Sonko watch. Now I want to answer you. After writing to the Cooperative Bank, we have furnished you the statements, and Cooperative Bank clearly explained that this money went to the CBK. I was not satisfied. I decided to write again to the CBK. Did this money come to you? Yes, CBK replied and gave us the statement. The 6 billion was recovered in the CBK, our CRF account there. In fact, in 2017-2018, Nairobi County was the leading county in terms of collecting on-source revenue. We didn't collect 6 billion that particular year. That was the previous financial year. We collected 10.9 billion. We were leading. And this current financial year, that is 2019, the first quarter, we improved by 19.9% compared to.
And let's talk about that when we talk about the economy and your revenue
we'll come to that, but now I'm trying to tell you
no, sir, we will come to this. I think you've made your point.
That question was.
You made your point that the question was answered, but yet it's a question that keeps coming back because an allegation has now been. Let me finish. An allegation has now been made against you on the Facebook page by Beware that you colluded with your chief finance officer to commit financial fraud by making it seem that donor-funded projects were in fact funded using county resources. And part of the allegations that they also cite on Buyer Beware, they talk about billions of shillings unaccounted for, which appear to be corroborated by this same question by the Auditor General. So how is it that you say that there's been an explanation for it, but it's not going away?
That is
clearly it's not satisfactory.
First of all, Buyer Beware, those are extortionists, murderers. Yeah, and I've got evidence. I'll come to that. But let me come to the first, the allegation on the, that we use donor funding. They have not said about donor funding. I think they want to maybe apply to the World Bank funding. All the counties are being funded by the World Bank, especially the metropolitan counties, Nairobi, Kiambu. We have these funds. And even the money Nairobi County is using for projects and doing roads, it's not our money. It's an allocation from the national government. So each and every county has this allocation, and it is very different. It is being audited and accounted. It is very different from the allocation which we get and from the on-source revenue which we generate from the taxes which we collect. But this particular, the donor funding, there was some money from World Bank, around 8 billion. This was a partnership program between Nairobi City County and national government plus the World Bank. These funds were there from 2013, but they were never utilized. And the problem was, by the time I took office, 300 million had already been misappropriated for funding the, rehabilitating the Tomboya Street Fire Station, which was the only fire station that was constructed since the colonial time, the independence time. So what did I do as Sonko? Or why did, why wasn't this money being used since the time it was allocated? This was because there was bad leadership, rampant corruption. There's no project that was undertaken by the previous administration.
One thing appears curious, Governor,
yes.
because you spent 5 years blaming the Evans Kidero government on corruption allegations
yes.
of all sorts. You, in your own manifesto, said that you would comply with and implement the recommendations of the Controller of Budget and the Auditor General. But now when they cast aspersions on you, you say they're lying.
Who?
You've even gone as yes, you said the Auditor General was lying.
We have no problem.
Is it a case that Sonko is the only one who can see corruption in others, but when it's pointed out in his own administration,
there is no corruption on Sonko.
Nothing here.
There is no corruption on Sonko. Sonko does not work in Kasarani market, Ruai market. If there is corruption there, that is not Sonko's corruption. But as the CEO of the Nairobi City County government,
you take responsibility.
I take responsibility. I have never differed with the Controller of Budget. In all her reports, she's been supporting us. The Auditor General himself have never differed with him. But his officers are already under investigations by the ESCC. When they asked for a bribe from me to do a favorable report, I reported my case. They already recorded their statements. I think investigations are ongoing. So those are two different issues. There is no corruption allegation that have been leveled against me.
I want to ask you a final question.
Reports are always there in all, even companies. Our company, I'm always being audited by my auditors. So these are general audit queries which are always there.
Which you're saying are not proof of corruption.
Yeah.
And you've also said you're not under investigation right now. I'm going to wind up part one with this final question. There are also reports by high-placed sources that not only are you under investigation by the EACC, but that in fact your accounts, your personal accounts, have been frozen for the last few days. You're saying no such thing has taken place?
That is a total lie. Maybe but when we come, I've got my phones with me. I control all my accounts on my phones. You give me any number, I can transfer 100,000 right now, then if I can transfer to you, then you send back my money.
No,
so that
please don't.
So that you confirm you have received money from Sonko, then you transfer back my money.
That will never happen.
And
on that note, we take a commercial break.
That is a total lie. My accounts are very active.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
We're taking a break. We're back with Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko after this.
Punchline was